having retired, which is hard for any of us to believe. And he's already talked about what it might take for him to return. The winner of this fight, it looms heavy.
I don't think Tyson Fury will fight again if Usyk wins. But I think if AJ wins, which we believe he will, then I think you'll see the undisputed fight between those two. But, you know, that's why AJ's taking this fight. He wants to force the undisputed fight. It's always been, you know, his dream to be undisputed, and he can't do it without the belts. So he takes this rematch and he gives it everything to try and become a 3-time world champion.
Now, objectively, by your estimation, with these three guys, Usyk, Joshua, Tyson, let's assume he's active, who is the top heavyweight in the division?
You're asking a very biased individual. I'm a big believer that Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight in the world. But right now, on paper, you can't say it. I actually think with the resume, and not just obviously he's only had a couple of heavyweight fights, but having beaten AJ, having come up undisputed cruiserweight world champion, you know, I get a lot of criticism when I talk about Tyson Fury's resume. The fact is that his big wins have been against Deontay Wilder 3 times, but one individual, and Vladimir Klitschko. Well, AJ beat Vladimir Klitschko. He also beat Povetkin, Ruiz, Parker, you know, Dillian White, another fighter that Tyson Fury's beaten. So I put AJ's resume consistently as better than all of them at heavyweight. But on paper, it's a toss-up between Usyk and Fury. Number 1 right now. Hopefully that will change August 20th.
Those are the words, once again, of Eddie Hearn, stating that he feels that Anthony Joshua is the pound-for-pound best. But, he said, you can't say that right now. Understand, Eddie Hearn is the promoter of Anthony Joshua. Make no illusions. And he's going to say stuff like that, but let's talk about what he actually said about Anthony Joshua. Is it valid? Is it true? Is Anthony Joshua the best pound, or he said one of the best? One of the best, you could say still one of the best, but in terms of 1 to 5, okay, rankings. But I think that Usyk would be number 1. Especially of Tyson Fury. In people's argument, well, Tyson's the best. If Usyk beat Joshua, he's the best. Tyson never fought Anthony Joshua nor Usyk, so we don't know who he is. It's so incomplete. But then they never fought each other, so how would then people say, well, hey, well, if they never fought each other, you know, Joshua and Usyk never fought Tyson Fury, so how do you know who's the best? Well, Tyson Fury's retired, so that should be everything you need to know about who's the pound-for-pound best, because if a guy is retired, that's what it is. He's no pound-for-pound, he's retired. Okay? You can't talk about the employee of the month when the employee or when that guy that you're claiming to be employee of the month doesn't work there anymore. He doesn't even work in the building. He doesn't work in the facility. He doesn't. That's Tyson Fury. You know, and then what Eddie said about Tyson Fury, if he gets beat, if Joshua gets beat again, he won't come back. No, he won't. And look, it's because risk versus reward. For one, that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is done. Usyk stole it. Usyk took it. If he stops if he stops Joshua, it's over. All that money's gone. Not necessarily Joshua's career, but it's going to take a dive. And he's not going to get that type of money anymore, as opposed to a fighter. Now, he did sign that deal, and that's a whole nother issue. But in terms of being a fighter, that money between him and Tyson Fury that they could have generated goes away. Okay, it just goes away. Okay, because, you know, Usyk is the guy that spoiled all the plans for those 2 Brits to get in there. Okay, but if Joshua beats Usyk, then hey, that's a relief. You know, it almost reminds me of 2012 when everybody wanted Money Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao to fight. And that fight kept going through the ringer, kept going through whatever negotiations. You know, Floyd was getting pissed, like, don't ask me no more about Manny. And then Manny gets knocked out. And it was almost like a sign of relief. I think if Joshua knocks out Usyk, it would be a sign of relief for Tyson Fury for two reasons. For one, he knows he's going to come back in the sport of boxing. That's why he's holding on to that damn belt. And for two, he knows that the money that they can generate is massive. And that's the whole reason of going in there and fight Anthony Joshua. Okay? Now, here's the twist. That does not mean that Tyson Fury, if he goes in there and beats Joshua because Joshua beat Usyk, don't mean that he can beat Usyk. It's just people's perception will change if Joshua stops Usyk. Because then people will think, well, hey, what does Usyk still have left depending on the type of knockout or stoppage it was? Okay, so we can't look at this in a triangle theory type perception. We need to stop that because you don't know what two individual fighters are going to do until they do it. You have to see what's going to develop once they get into the ring. You can't look at this and base that off of a decision or a win from somebody else that has nothing to do with those two individuals, one-on-one. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn stating that Anthony Joshua is the best. He's not pound for pound the best. No. Okay? If you believe, like, you have to say Usyk, right? You have to say Usyk's the best pound for pound. He's already the pound for pound best. And really, what the hell is a heavyweight being a pound for pound best anyway, unless he came from a different weight class? So that's flawed all the way. Now, being the top heavyweight, yes. The highest paid, yes. He's that. He's the highest paid, most lucrative heavyweight that we have on the landscape today and in the last 5 years. 10 years. As far as heavyweights go. No one has made the money that Anthony Joshua has created and generated. No one. Not Wilder, not Fury, none of them. Okay? None of them has made that type of money. But again, that's of course the reason why Tyson Fury would just say, you know what, I'm out. And I'm going to stay out if Anthony Joshua gets beat by Alexander Usyk once again. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn stating that Anthony Joshua is still pound for pound best. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.